Hi guys. Where we've moved here in Florida actually gets cold. I mean, it gets cold. It definitely gets down to freezing, and that's not good for fish. Problem with we had that problem last year, and where on the night of our moving, it got down to 21 degrees, and we lost some fish, and it was really devastating. And so I vowed that would never happen again. So last year we spent the year using copper pipe and a fire. Allowed the copper pipe to create suction, which pulled water through the copper pipe because it was hot, and then dumped it back into the pool. And it worked, kinda. It definitely didn't heat the pools enough. It definitely wasn't the best solution. It wasn't a bad solution, but it wasn't the best solution. So this year we've made sure that we're ready for it, and so I'm going to show you what I've made. Basically, I have made 50-gallon canister filters out of 50-gallon drums. These are food grade drums. They're not petroleum based or soap based or any of those things that could harm fish. Basically, one of them is a honey container, and the other were vegetable oil, and we've washed them out real well, and so I've turned them into canister filters that I can put over a fire. So let me show you what I've got. All right, so these are our two heaters, and to give you an idea of, I mean, they're really simple. So they're raised on concrete bricks so that I can light a fire underneath them. They are okay. So this is a 3/4 inch hose that just attaches to a regular, everyday sump pump. That sump pump draws water up the hose and into the canister filter. So just one of these really simple things screws right in. So it's already the right size. It's 3/4 inch. Most of these hoses are 3/4 inch with the sump pumps. They do have a 1 inch, which I've had to do on the other one is a 1 inch, and I had to kind of come up in an L shape there because I couldn't find one that just went right in. But anyway, the second bung hole is 2 inch, and you just come up with an elbow, and then it goes right over. In this case, I've got it pouring into my filter bucket, or my filter trash can, I guess, which I may end up switching up. I'm not entirely sure yet. And then, of course, that just flows down into the pools. And then so this one, it actually flows into the 275-gallon canister filter, and I haven't hooked up the hose yet, simply because I'm actually looking for another. I got to go find another 2-inch elbow that I can put on the end of this so that it directs it down into the hole. I'm pretty sure that the flow of the water is going to be too fast. It's just going to blow off of it. So I need a 2-inch elbow to replace that. Okay, so that's it. And then they're up on the bricks here, and I'll simply insert wood underneath the two cans tonight and start the fire. And the water that comes out of these cans will slowly increase in temperature. So it's going to go in right now at probably 65-70 degrees as the night progresses, and then what'll be coming out of the canister filter and into the bins or into the pools is going to be more on the lines of about 75 degrees initially, and then as the water that comes in is warmer, it will heat it up a little more, and it'll eventually be coming out at about 80 degrees. I really have no doubt that it will never get above 80 degrees, simply because it's a lot of water. So you're going to lose a lot of temperature off of the surface, and that temperature, as it dissipates, is not going to be retained. So you're never really going to get the water temperature up above probably 80 degrees. But 80 degrees is perfectly fine when you're in weather that is 30 degrees. So I may end up actually having to put some of the pool covers over the top to kind of keep the heat from dissipating, though I hate to do that because it reduces the oxygenation in the water. So I usually put it on late at night, come out and take it off again in the morning, and that way you know, they don't have any real oxygen problems. But that's it, and it's really simple. It's super cheap. I think well, I mean, the most expensive part is the PVC bits, of course. I got these drums. I think I paid $20 each for them. Might not even have been that. I think I just got back. I think I paid $10 each for them because I bought 6 of them, and the guy was pretty cool. So anyway, so the drums are pretty cheap, and they're not all that hard to come by. And then the PVC, these days, prices are freaking ridiculous. So PVC these days is, I got a 20-foot piece of 2-inch, and it cost me $40, which I thought was ridiculous because I recall buying 20-foot pieces of 2-inch PVC just a few years back for like 18. So it's definitely doubled. And then the little valves and stuff, or I say valves, not valves, the little nipples that go into the bung hole so that you can put a hose over it. I think those were like $1.50 each, so that's cheap. And then the elbows and the PVC connector to screw into the 2-inch bung hole. They're like $7.99 a piece, which I thought was really freaking crazy for PVC, but you know, prices are what they are these days. So I built those 2. I need to build another one for the community pool. I have not got around to it yet. I'm going to do it tonight, and we are getting down a little bit chillier tonight, but we shouldn't be below 60. But tomorrow we have a cold front coming through, and it's supposed to be really, really, really cold, getting down into the 30s, which is exactly what I don't want. And up here in North Florida, it kind of stays that way. Once it cools down, it stays cold. So anyway, so I'm going to get it built for this one tonight, which I think will make sure it's safe. And those 2 guys are ready to go. I just have to attach the hose to the yellow one there, and get the 2-inch elbow, which I'm going to go pick up in just a few minutes here. And you know, we've got this trash pile that we've got to remove because it was here when we moved onto the property, and have been slowly kind of breaking down some of the metal and stuff, but haven't really gotten to the wood. So I've got plenty of wood to burn. I'm just going to throw that stuff on the table saw and on the you know, bring up the chainsaw and just kind of chop it up into little smaller pieces. So I've got enough wood to make it through the winter for burning under there to keep my temperatures up. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to do 2 of them at the same time. I'll have to do a fire there and a fire over there for the community pool. Now, my next big thing is, so right here where I'm standing is actually going to be our compost pile. The compost pile gets hot. It gets anywhere between 140 and 160 degrees. And so I've got 3 more barrels for the compost pile, and they will go right smack in the middle of the compost pile. And as the compost pile heats up, it will generate 150 to 160 degree heat, which I will then be able to pump my water through those 3 barrels as opposed to the fire barrels, and keep the fire barrels as backup. And the compost will then be the heater for these 50-gallon canister filters. And just FYI, I mean, like, no, I'm using them for heaters, but they don't have to be heaters. They are canister filters. Basically, what's in those is just a whole bunch of lava rock, some pot scrubbers, some pillow stuffing. The lava rock is going to do 2 things. It's biological filtration, which is something you need in a canister filter, but also it's going to get hot and it will retain heat. So that will help with my with the process of warming the water. It won't just be fire on metal. All of that lava rock that's in there, and it's up to about the halfway mark, almost, not quite halfway mark, but because I can't afford to fill it. If I could afford to fill it, it would be absolutely full, but I can't. But anyway, the lava rock will retain heat, and that heat will get transferred to the water, and that will help us in the heating process. But also, we're doing exactly the same thing with the ones that are going to be we're doing exactly the same thing with the ones that are going to be here in the compost pile, and so that lava rock will retain heat. There is actually the ones that are going in the compost pile actually have about 18 inches of concrete in the bottom as well too, and that concrete will retain that heat really, really well and pass it on to the water, and then the lava rock on top of that will also maintain that temperature. So that's what we're doing for the winter this year, and I feel really good about it. We do have a backup system. If all else fails, we can put it on electric, but I really can't afford to do the $650 electric bills that we had while we were down south. That's just, it's not an option now. But so that's it, and I hope this turns out to be useful for for somebody. It's going to work for us, and who knows who else it might work for. So give us a thumbs up, give us a like, repost this, and subscribe, and there's more to come. I'll show you when the fire's lit, and when the other ones are built, and when the compost pile goes up. All stuff we're working on. All right, guys, see you.